All right, folks, it's 3:45 on the 28th of March. We're going to start our fourth webinar for the semester, spring 2019. We're going to hear from some members of the Emerging Librarian Committee of the Nassau County Library Association. Our guests today are Pam and Georgina. They'll introduce themselves in just a moment. But first, let's hear from Gabriella, who coordinated today's talk. Gabriella?
Hi everyone, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you to Georgina and Pam from the Emerging Librarians Committee. I have been to, I believe, one of your meetings, and it was a great experience. And I think it's great what you guys do. You know, trying to get new professionals in the field to connect and discuss the field on different levels. So, whenever you guys are ready, you can go ahead and get started with your presentation.
Thank you, Gabriella. So, hi everyone. My name is Georgina, and Pam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. Hi. This is Pam.
So we are the co-chairs for the Nassau County Library Association's Emerging Librarians Committee, and so we've prepared sort of slideshow for you guys to follow and kind of tell you a little bit about what we do. You know, that we're here for you if you have any questions regarding the field and how important it is for us as librarians to help you guys out and kind of tell you and guide you through your journey in library school. So I don't know if you want to get started with the presentation, Pam.
Yes. Okay. So, who are you listening to right now? So my name is Pam Pagonis. I'm the one on the right side of the screen. I work at the Belmore Memorial Library as a librarian trainee, and I'm graduating this May from the University at Buffalo's online program in information and library studies. So that's about me. I've worked at Belmore. I started as a page, then I moved into working as a clerk, and then now I'm a trainee. I've actually worked here since high school, and I've been here going on 11 years. So that's where I am right now. So if you hear children screaming, that's where it's coming from. So my apologies.
And I'm Georgina Rivas Martinez, and I'm on the left. And so I work at two libraries currently. So I'm at the Port Washington Public Library, which is in Nassau County, and I'm an adult services librarian. And then I work at the South Huntington Public Library, which is in Suffolk. I got my MLIS from LIU Post in 2017, and then this December 2018, I finished my archive certificate from Queens. So I like to be a little bit versatile and work in all different departments in the library because I think it's very important for us to get accustomed to different things. You never know when you're going to have to cover a different location. And I've been working in the library system for like 11 years now, so it's pretty cool.
And I also just want to point out that Georgina and I, now that we're co-chairs, but we actually started as members of the Emerging Librarian Committee, and then just in time, we kind of moved our way up and got more involved with the group. So, okay, go to the next slide. So like we said, we're a part of the Nassau County Library Association. Different areas have different groups. So in Nassau County, it's the Nassau County Library Association. And in Suffolk, it's the Suffolk County Library Association. So depending where you live, you're definitely going to have a local group to join and be a part of. So I highly recommend it. So just talking about Nassau County, I just want to give you guys a breakdown of the different groups, and so you can also understand where we, the Emerging Librarians Committee, fit into this group. So there's different divisions. So if you're interested in, for example, Children's Services, I'm a member of the Children's Services Division. If you're interested in Reference and Adult Services, you can join that division and be a member. You can also hold elected positions within these divisions where you would be elected into the position, and that's there's a lot of benefits to that. Under divisions, there are committees, and that's us. So there, I just threw that in there. We're the Emerging Librarians Committee, and each committee, again, they have co-chairs, and they hold monthly meetings, and each group focuses on different important aspects of libraries, and I think it's really important to get involved. So, and you could be a bunch of different committees. Like I know some people, like, they might be involved in the pop culture committee, but then they also could be coming to the Emerging Librarians group as well, or participate in the Long Island Library Conference group. So, Georgina, you have anything else you want to add?
No, like you hit it right on the nail. Like it's you don't have to be exclusively part of one. You can always cross and do other things. Like I know one of our vice president for the association, he like co-chairs or chairs the mentoring and networking committees,
Mm-hmm.
as well as doing other tasks. So it's really cool, and it's very important for you to join and participate in them, especially with the librarian like tests that will be made available, or when they're
Yeah,
made available for you. You know, being on a committee or being part of it will kind of help you out in that experience. So
absolutely.
think about it.
All right, let's go to the next one. So, who are we? What do we do? We put on programs. We do focus on sometimes students or emerging librarians who are just entering the field. Like I said, I joined as a member originally, and it was a great way to get involved. But just because we call it emerging librarians, like it's a very broad definition. We have members who come who are returning to the profession. Some librarians who retired and then maybe they went from part-time, or even people who switched jobs and then wanted to get back into being a library professional. They also come to our meetings because they're re-emerging back into the field. So, and then Georgina, she always has an amazing definition for who are we and who we service. So,
So, what was my definition for this? Can I tell you? I forgot, but hold on. The wheels are turning. So the Emerging Librarians Committee, like our vision for this is, library field is always evolving. So no matter what level of librarianship you're in, you're always emerging because there's always something new going on that you're going to need to touch base and learn about. So for me, that's our goal. Like we want to pinpoint and reach every single librarian out there, because if we reach those seasoned ones, you guys can match up with them and learn something from them. And then you learn all this techie stuff or brand new trends, and then you give it forth to them. And it's just like a give and back type of way of seeing it.
I love it. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, so what are the benefits of getting involved in NCLA and other professional organizations? So Georgina touched upon this before. So at least in Nassau County, if you guys want to work in a public library in Nassau County, as of now, there is no Librarian 1 test for us. So when we graduate, say if there's any students in here who are planning on graduating in May or June, as of this moment, there's no scheduled exam. There is a tentative exam possibly scheduled for July. Again, this is just for Nassau County, so I apologize if this isn't relevant to you, but it's always important to know the dates of the tests just so you can be aware and plan ahead. But one of the benefits of getting involved for the New York State Librarian 1 exam is that you get credit for being a member. Like there's a portion on the New York State Librarian 1 exam that says, are you a member of any professional organizations? And then it says, if so, are you a member? Are you a chair? Or are you an elected officer of the position or of the group that you're in? And that gives you credit. So one thing that I was actually thinking of is, so it's great that, I'm sure most of you are students, join these groups now, join.
Rate, you guys.
Yes, even I'm guilty of it. I have to still join ALA because I'm still a student, but yes, the student rate, join now. And also the student rates are so much cheaper. So join and participate, and then that will give you guys credit on at least the New York State Librarian 1 exam. So
Right. And then I'm just gonna cut in and touch upon Suffolk. Like, I don't know if anyone that's listening to this lives in Suffolk, and then my apologies if it's not relevant for you. But for Suffolk County, the test is offered every 2 years. So they just offered it this October 2018. So they're not gonna offer it until October 2020.
2020, yeah.
2020. My math. That's why I'm a librarian, you guys. Um, so yeah, and it's an actual written exam. Like directors
Multiple
get together.
choice.
Yeah,
Oh,
multiple
yeah,
choice,
multiple choice.
and they create this exam. About the library. And they have different like project sections. And if you want to be a reference librarian, you only do like the first 50 questions. If you want to be a children's, you continue and answer the next like 15 to 20 questions. And then the list is made like public on the civil service website once the scores are up. And then directors or libraries will send letters of employment, like they're looking for canvas letters that they're looking for librarian one in whatever department that they need it.
Yeah. And the great thing about at least Suffolk County, I live in Nassau County, but I was able to take the Suffolk County test. So you can take the Suffolk County test if you don't live in Suffolk, but unfortunately, to take the Nassau County test, you have to be a Nassau County resident only. So,
Right.
um, yes. So moving on, the next benefit of getting involved and joining professional groups and organizations that you get free or reduced registration fees. Again, I'm speaking for the Nassau County Library Association. So if you are a member of the Nassau County Library Association and they're putting on programs for continuing education opportunities or networking events, those in most cases they're either going to be free or they might have maybe like a $5 charge, depending on the type of program that it is. But that compared to a non-member of the group, it would cost money. So, and also just throwing it out there, continuing education. I believe for New York State librarians, we're required 60 hours every
5 years.
5 years, right?
Yeah.
So and continuing education is also on the New York State Librarian 1 exam. That's a question, I believe, on the test. So that also will count towards the test that you take. So it's important to get and do and participate in continuing education opportunities. And then the next benefit is, again, like I said, networking and socializing with other librarians and professionals in the field. Some examples that the Nassau County Library Association has done is happy hour, New York Mets games, mini golf. I've been told that they've been on cruises. I haven't gone on one, but I'm sure that'd be super fun. And then some trips to NBC Studios. They've been to the Harry Potter exhibit. And then I was told that even some of these events are CEU generating, which is pretty cool. And then now, the real stuff is by participating in these events, you can build get different skills, such as technical skills and trainings. And I think it's important because then you get to learn about what other libraries are doing locally and regionally. We're in the profession of sharing knowledge, so it's good to hear what other places are doing.
And then you can always take it back to your library and just tweak it and flip it and do anything you want to do to it to mold it to what your community requires.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I wrote also attend vendor workshops. So I actually went to a workshop about Event Keeper, which is kind of like some libraries use it as like their calendar or to put their library programs on there. And it's cool. You get to learn a lot about the different products that libraries are using and softwares that they use. And I actually got a free ruler, and it's really great. So that's something that they give out free stuff sometimes. So it's good to go. And then, like I said, sharing knowledge. And that's, again, one of the most important things about joining these groups and participating in professional organizations. Let's go to the next one. So these are upcoming Emerging Librarian Committee events and meetings that we're having. So on Friday, April 5th, we're going to be at the Plainview Old Bethpage Library. So you'll see, I won't be able to attend, unfortunately, but Georgina will be there. So during these meetings, we plan future events. We talk about any upcoming events that maybe other groups are doing. We also just, again, like share information about, like, if we've heard anything, or we'll talk about the new test that's coming out. So it's definitely fun. And I've brought board games, honestly. I've brought board games before for us to play. So if there's anyone who's interested in board games, I always bring them. So if you ever want to play after the meeting, or say the meeting ends early, I'm always down to play. So
Yes.
And then our next program that we're planning is a speed networking event. It's going to be on Tuesday, May 7th at the Belmore Memorial Library from 6:30 to 8:30. So it's kind of like, if you can imagine, like speed dating, but obviously not dating. And it's going to be, you're going to be across from your peers. You can be across from library directors. You can be across from librarians who've been working in the field. And it's just going to give you the opportunity to meet other librarians and students in an informal environment, and get to know them, but also learn more about what it's like working in the field. So I think it's going to be really fun. It's the second time we're doing this program, and the first one, actually, Georgina and I, that's where we first met as members of the Emerging Librarians Committee. So that was fun, and we're looking forward to doing it again. So, okay. And then now we have advice for students. And then once we're finished with this, we can open it up if you guys have any questions. So my biggest advice I think that I can offer is to work in a library. Whether you are working as a page or as a clerk or a librarian trainee, you can be a librarian trainee while you're a student. I think any experience working in a library setting it's so important. I think that's what gives you an idea of how, libraries work. I mean, as a student right now, they touch upon all different types of libraries. And it's tough. I have an assignment that's due this weekend, and it's about collection development for my collection development class. And we have to order $1,500 worth of materials for a library. We have to spend it all. And honestly, by working in a library, I've definitely have an idea of how it works, so it helps as a student, and it's definitely helped me as a student. And I think it's just important to have that experience. And as I said earlier, it will help for your civil service exam, at least if you're taking the Librarian 1 or New York State Librarian 1 exam. Having experience in the library already working is crucial. So, and then, oops, sorry, Georgina, what?
Yeah. I'm just gonna piggyback off yours, and I totally agree with Pam. Working in a library, any library. When I was at Post, I worked in their academic library.
Yes.
I thought I was not gonna like it, and I actually really enjoyed it. And then any way that you can, don't be afraid to ask. Kind of just do it, because you never know. You never know what's that question of, is there a job opening? Can I leave my resume? You never know how that can open a door for you. So at the Port Washington Library where I'm working now, I went in for a tour. I interned for them while I was in library school, and they ended up hiring me part-time. And it was the best time I ever had there, and I love working there. So just do it, you guys. Nike, just do it, man.
So next is definitely get involved. That's kind of what we've been saying throughout this presentation. It's so important to get involved, and it also just helps you meet people. And I think that in this field is crucial because that's how you share information, is knowing people. Even here at Belmar, we were asking, we were curious about how other libraries around us do summer reading, and what strategies they use. So, we ask friends, we ask people that we've been in school with. Um, we ask people who are in the emerging librarians group, hey, like, oh, you work at this library? Oh, what are you doing for summer reading this year? Like, and we share ideas. So, getting involved, networking next, that's really important too. Um, and then again, for Nassau County Public Libraries, my advice is to definitely plan ahead for taking the civil service exam. So have all of your information, have all of the dates. If you start working at a library at a certain date, write it down, know the exact date of start to end. Don't wait for the last minute, because from what we're hearing about this new test, at least for Nassau County, is that you have a short window of time to complete the test. So you should definitely start gathering any materials now that you think would be relevant for it.
Right, right. And then, you guys, it's networking is key for our field. And, join ALA. Join, if you're not a Nassau County, resident, still join, NCLA, because you will have the perks of being able to attend, workshops at a cheaper price. Um, this is not self-promotion, I
Yeah.
promise.
But no, it counts on, at least on the
Yeah,
New York State Librarian 1 exam. Having these memberships are going to give you credit on the test. I think that's something new. Like, we're not, us in Nassau County, we're used to the Nassau County test. Once they say that they're going to have a new test, it's not going to be the Nassau County test. It's going to be the New York
New
State
York
test,
State
which is,
test, yeah.
yes, which is very, very different than what we're used to or what we've heard about. So getting involved, being a part of groups, having that, even if it's just a membership status, it's super important. And even if you signed up originally and your membership lapsed, like, it's okay, like, re-sign up. And they're just looking to show that growth and that you're still involved. That's what they're looking for, I think, in this
Right.
new test
Yeah,
that's coming
and
out.
ALA, so ALA is the national, I think we all know, American Library Association. It has a lot of resources for you guys as librarians, and I know we're talking about Nassau County, but I completely supported, and then as this year's emerging one of their emerging leaders, I'm gonna speak out to it, and I think it's really important for you guys to join as students. And they have all the branches that we have, like preference,
Yeah, like
adult services,
children's.
children's, young adult. Whatever concentration you guys want to follow that path, they have something. And they have great groups that you can totally reach out to, and that's at a national level. So right now I'm working with people in California and Florida, all over.
Yeah, and you've been
And
going to workshops and conferences all over the country, and I believe, are you going in Washington D.C.,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So as an emerging leader for ALA, you're meeting all these people across the country, and I think that's awesome. And that was because you got involved with ALA.
Right. So,
So
you guys, I fully support your academic choice of becoming a librarian. Join our team. Just shoot us an email that we're gonna provide later, at the end of this
yes.
presentation. We're so open to helping you guys out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate.
And we want
Just
to learn from you too. We
right.
definitely are open to hearing what is going on, in the local schools around us, and what are you guys learning? What are your professors telling you? I mean, granted, I'm a student as well, but it's they're in Buffalo, they're kind of far, so it's very different than where we're located. So
Right.
um,
And any programs that you guys might want to see, you let us know. Oh, can you guys do a training on I don't know, collection development, and then we
right,
could just
right,
co-sponsor with children's or adult, depending. We
one of
can
these
just grab
regions.
one of each and do a program like that. And we might stream it, it depends. but we're so open to any ideas that you guys may have.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions? We can take questions. We're also, we wrote our email and our website, and then we also put the information of the NCLA president and the SCLA president. So if you guys wanted to reach out to them with questions, they could help.
I have a question.
Yes.
So a few years ago, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, NCLA had, I think your committee actually
Mhm.
hosted I think it was called Civil Service 101, or that kind of like there was an
Something
information
like
session.
that.
I know that now that the civil service in Nassau County has been suspended,
Yes.
is that something that will come back? I know a lot of our students really benefited from having that in-person talk. So are you,
Yeah.
once the exam is announced and you guys know the format, will you start designing a program like that again?
I definitely think we've been talking about it. It's tough because the test is so new and it's hard to get information. I will say that there was a workshop. I know we at least sent like an email out. I think it took place maybe about a month ago, and it was about the new test. That's kind of like where we're speaking from. So yeah, I think maybe we can definitely try to plan something like before the test. Even if it's just like for people to just come to the meeting where we'll be talking about the test. Um, but as when we know of upcoming tests, even if it's not through the Emerging Librarians Committee, if it's through another NCLA committee or division, we can definitely send that out to everyone so
Right.
they know.
I think the person that did the one like a month ago is working on doing another one in a few months. I will, we'll look into what dates they have, and I do think it's going to be open again to like everyone. So as soon as we get it, we can just shoot you guys an email with that flyer so it's available for your students.
Sounds
That
good. I'm sending an email to that elilibrarians@gmail.com right now just to request that our departmental email address be added to your listserv.
Perfect. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that will be really helpful for our students. I did have a question for you guys. I assume that you're not only involved in the Emerging Librarians Committee, I'm sure you're involved in other organizations as well. Can you talk a little bit about the time commitment or what it takes to become involved in these organizations? I know that you're both co-chairs, so can you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, Georgina is super involved. She is a part of so many groups. I'll say for me, as of now, I am a member of the Children's Service Division. Um, the commitment for that is they probably have a meeting once a month where you can go to, an open meeting, you can go. Same with us as the Emerging Librarian Committee, we have a meeting once a month.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess meetings usually last. Ours lasts about an hour. I feel like the Children's Service Division maybe that lasts about like 2 or so hours. The good thing, I mean, it's different because as an online student, like I don't have to physically go to a class, but I know, or if you're working full time, some libraries will let you go to meetings and like they'll pay you, like, like to go to the meetings. So, and I know like as us, we also go to the NCLA executive board meetings. So, like, my library lets me go to that on library time. I guess that makes sense. So it is a commitment, but it's definitely manageable. And I think, if working as library professionals or even as students, I feel like libraries recognize that you do have to get involved. So most libraries are understanding in terms of letting you go out. So it's not like so much of like a time commitment like outside of, like I definitely have like free time still. So
Right, and I do think that joining these organizations is really important because you want to be able to stay updated on trends in the
yes,
field and be able to reach out and talk to other professionals so you're gaining the knowledge that they're gaining in their own libraries. So that's really important. I know that a while ago, I don't think you mentioned it during this presentation, but I know that I spoke to you when I attended a meeting and we talked a little bit about your resume workshop. So
oh yes.
is that something that you guys would have again, or can you just talk a little bit about different workshops that you have? I think you also mentioned something with social media that you guys set up.
Yeah. So those we had before Pam came on board with me as my co-chair. So I had a different co-chair, and so we did last summer a what was it? Social media for emerging librarians, and it was a co-sponsored program. So we're very big on co-sponsoring with other committees and divisions. So we co-sponsored it with the Computer and Technology Committee, and we had two great tech librarians come on board with us, and they prepared this full presentation for librarians from all over and library students to discuss how to use social media to kind of like market yourself as a librarian. um, and it was really a good program because we had it based where they kind of told you the do's and don'ts. So, like, if you have your personal Instagram, great, like, you can have it, but be mindful that when are looking for a job, your new boss may want to go on and see, what what you're doing, and they're going to see all your pictures and stuff. So you may go the way of having like a more corporate, that's not the word that like professional, I think is very good.
Professional.
And so my co-chair is a professional photographer, so he did hit shots for those that attended. I don't know if Pam and I are gonna work something out where we have another one of those, because we tried to cycle them where we space them out, and we don't do them every year. And then the resume one, we may have another one. I'm not sure, because we did have to get an outside person to do it. And so we had to like kind of budget for them and figure out, what would be the best time frame. Um, but we could totally try to arrange something like that if it was a high demand type of program. Absolutely.
I think it's just good for our students to know that within these professional organizations or committees like yours, there are opportunities to attend workshops like that that could be really helpful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for talking about that.
Thank you for having us. This was fun.
Does anybody else have any questions for today? We'll just open it up for a second to our students and see if anybody wants to chime in here.
Sure. Don't be shy, guys. We're fun.
It's very important for, as Georgina and Pamela said, that we get involved early in the profession. You are all members in DLIS. You're all members of DELISA, the DLIS Student Association, which is a student chapter of ALA. But taking the extra step and getting a very inexpensive student membership for these associations, if anything, for not just for the networking, which we know is very important, I can't stress that enough, but the information resources that open up to you. There are jobs that are posted through these associations that you may not encounter on sites like Indeed or other places. Uh, there are training workshops, as they've listed today, and it just gives you the chance to inform your career and to develop. You are responsible if you're going to be living in New York and working as a certified public librarian. It was mentioned earlier in the presentation that you're responsible for continuing ed, and you do have an obligation to satisfy 60 credits over 5 years, and that's an ongoing process. So just be mindful of it. And aside from the social benefits and the professional benefits, it's nice to just have a group of professionals that you can call on for anything, mentorship, any of the things that I mentioned today. So it is valuable, and DLIS definitely encourages all of our students. We do provide you with the information you need to join these associations. So that being said, thank you, ladies, for attending today, for giving us such an informative presentation. Thank you, Gabriella, for being our social director, and Delissa. And yeah, you hear the smattering of applause from her classmates in the room with her. Going forward, I just shot that email. I'll ask that NCLA's Emerging Librarian Committee add DLIS to your listserv so that we can get this information directly to the students. And definitely send me information about your May 7th speed networking event. I think that sounds interesting. And I think some local people may be encouraged to attend that. Uh, that's it. Thanks again. And speaking of, each of you ladies is going to get a 4 CEU certificate from us today for presenting. We give 4 contact hours or 4 CEUs for all of our speakers who came in and took the time to put together your presentation and meet with us. So thank you. You'll get that email from Gabriella later this week, tomorrow, hopefully. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again,
All
and
right,
good
thank
luck
you.
with everything, and keep us informed of changes at NCLA. We're very excited.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thank
See you
Bye.
soon.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right, folks, I'm calling it. It's 4:20 on March 28th. Thank you for tuning in. Uh, the recording and additional materials will be made available to you tomorrow. Ciao.